you are not a football player. You're not defined by football. Football is going to be taken away eventually. You are a man of God who is created in God's image. You are a king. Football is going to be taken away, or it's going to get put down one day, but will not go away. Is the fact that you are a king. You were created to lead nations.
Welcome back to another episode of Back to Life. It's yours truly, Buckley on air, and I have another special guest with me, a future head coach in the making and current assistant coach at Marriott High School, EJ Dunston. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. What's good?
Ultimately, for you, career didn't go the way that you hoped in terms of the next level. Was CFL or arena football any of that? Were those options on the table?
Yeah, I didn't speak to nobody about CFL. Arena had, Tampa Storm and Orlando Predators kind of, invited me out and stuff like that. But be honest with you, just by that time when I'm trying to get my foot in right and find out what I'm finna do for real, I kind of had to had to battle myself out of depression and, had a life was swinging a different way. So on top of losing the love of the game within college already, I had already kind of lost the love of the game in college when, I'm dealing with this type of coaching, this type of system, this type of program. So after college and, I'm trying to live in life a little bit, I'm enjoying life again. Okay, I'm done with college. I'm getting ready for the next level. Okay, this don't work out. Boom. Life hit you hard. And now you like, oh, man. Like you get dealing with embarrassment. You dealing with guilt, shame, depression, all types of stuff. So, arena was kind of like back thought. Didn't really pursue it like folks wanted me to for real. So just started working for real, for real. Started working, started grinding. I want to say first job, I was at I was a mental health tech. Yeah, I was a mental health tech at Lakeside, and from there I ended up being in a juvenile detention center. I went to the juvenile detention center, was out there for a little bit, but my attitude definitely went right out there. Like I knew I couldn't stay there too long. And then that's when I started substitute teaching. And I started substitute teaching over Orange County. I think I was at Ocoee before and Edgewater. And when I was at Edgewater, never forget, I was just standing at a door during class change. My boy Mike Granado, Coach G, shout out to Coach G, man. He walked past me, he like, "Hey, you a big dude, like you know some ball. What's going on?" I'm like, yeah, I actually used to play here. Da, da, da. He like, you want a freaking coach? I was like, yeah, sure. All right, yeah. I was actually in conversation with some folks at Evans about coming over there and being a coach just because I didn't really know too many of the people that were at Edgewater at the time. And somebody I did know was at Evans and they were saying, they can get me hooked up over there. So then, but when he walked past and saw me, oh yeah, no, you need coaching here. Damn that, you're not going over there. You're staying home. And I've been coaching that. I was coaching at Edgewater ever since. And then after that first year, the next year, Coach Duke came, and then we rolled out that for about 7, 8 years, whatever. And then just came up here to Marietta just for different change of scenery.
So before I go a little more, dive a little deeper into the coaching side of things, you did mention that once you stopped playing, you dealt with a little bit of depression as well as embarrassment and stuff. I know that for any athlete, especially when you play at that D1 Power Five level or P4 now, that is really difficult to
Right.
adjust and transition out of it. Can you speak to that transition? Because for a lot of people, their careers end in high school. For you to even be able to make it to that next level is one thing, but you also had opportunity. There was potential and opportunity for you to play professional, and that didn't go the way that you had hoped. Can you speak to like that transition of like letting the game go?
Be honest with you, man. That was one of the hardest things I actually had to do for real. Because, like I said, I'm from Eansville. And, one of the main ways coming up that I seen to make it out of that was sports. Like, you had to be involved in some type of sports to make it out for real. And that's kind of shoot, as a black man in America, that's usually our way of thinking growing up. It's sports or rapping. That's like our main thoughts. Okay, I got to be an artist or I got to be in sports.
Mm.
So playing sports was always something I wanted to do. And football, once I got to that point, I was like, okay, I'm a ball player. I'm gonna commit myself to this. So my biggest issue was that identity thing, labeling myself as a football player rather than a man of God who's created in God's image who just so happened to be very good at football. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I want all my athletes to know these days. You are not a football player. You're not defined by football. Football is going to be taken away eventually. You are a man of God who's created in God's image. You are a king. You know what I'm saying? So that's first and foremost. You need to always know that you're not a football player. Football is going to be taken away or it's going to get put down one day, but will not go away. What will not go away is the fact that you are a king. You were created to lead nations. So that's what I had. That's what I like to make sure my athletes know now. And that's what I had to, bring myself back to. That was very hard, very tough. My wife helped me through that. My family helped me through that. They helped me, get out of that whole okay, football didn't work out. I used to sulk. I used to, drop my wife off at she was my girl at the time. I used to drop off at work and I would go back home and just sit in the dark, like damn, football ain't work out. What I'm finna do? I gotta get a regular job. Or I gotta be a regular 9 to 5 guy. And it's crazy. My number was 9 to 5. And it's kind of now my business is 9 to 5. You know what I'm saying? So my business and my work is the same thing that I was in my head, like, damn, I gotta go get a 9 to 5 now, bro. I gotta be at work. Like that's what I gotta do. So now, I work, of course, as a teacher, but I also have my own personal business. 95 Protection. We offer security. 95 skills training. I train athletes and stuff like that. So it's crazy. That's where that kind of transition to. I didn't want to be a guy that's working 9 to 5. Now, I got EJD 9 to 5 LLC. That's 9 to 5. That's my work now.
I think it's amazing how God works. And I was going to touch on it. You got to cross on, but you mentioned being a man of God. How pivotal was your relationship with God to help you get out of that dark place in reference to struggling with becoming a 9 to 5 guy?
Oh, for first and foremost, I was always a man of God. My mama did right by me. Shout out Emily Pringle, that's Mom Duke. She did right by me having me in the church. Growing up, Pastor Sheila J. Spencer, Prophetess Sheila J. Spencer, rest her soul. That was my pastor growing up. So my mom kept me in church. God was always in my life, regardless of anything. She used to always have scriptures on her desk when I would be helping her with her work because she was always a hard working woman. She was always a mother first, who put her kids first, always worked hard for her kids, and she was a God fearing woman who instilled, God into us, especially. Um, so that was always there. Now, I did struggle after the fact, now I'm grown, I'm a man, I'm making my own choices. I did struggle when I was in that dark depression, but I've always preached, not preached the word, but spoke the word over my life. And, I always had strong, crazy faith. My wife will tell you, my faith is crazy. Like I speak things because I know I got, faith that can move mountains for real. So that was always there. But when I was dealing with that, I kind of lost track of it. It was just like, because I said I had labeled myself as a football player. That was my identity. Oh, I'm a football player. I'm finna make it football. That was my only that was my way out. Thank God I actually had got a degree as well, but I wasn't thinking about no degree. I wasn't thinking about nothing. Like I was a football player, So honestly, my wife, her family, and my family all kind of just together helped me for real, for real. Me and my wife during that time because I met her shortly after college. I met her and we started dating. We started talking. Ended up getting married 2 years after college or whatever. But her parents, her mother is a prophetess as well. So she's preacher's kid. You know what I'm saying? Now, while granted, she got that mouth on her, she got a nice little attitude, but from birth, you know what I'm saying? She's been a preacher's kid. So she's strong in her faith. She's a, God fearing woman as well. So between her and her mother and my mother, and then Miss Michelle Cole, Michelle Reynolds, her and Mr. Eddie Cole, rest both of their souls. They were two of my mentors that were always, always, always. speaking life into me. And, I'm trying not to get too emotional by them, but them two right there were strong into my life from since I was young. They used to always tell me that they seen something in me. They used to always speak life into me, and their own family members will tell you like how they spoke highly of me, and my own family members will tell you how I spoke highly of them. Like I used to love going to camp. They was always speaking to me, pulling me to the side. EJ, you're a leader. EJ, you're a man of God. EJ, you're different. You're going to do this and do that. And that was always Michelle. That was always Miss Eddie Cole, and I loved them like I can't even explain for real, rest their souls. But them, my wife, her mother, my mother, my family, her family, my sisters in laws, my sisters, all them folks wrapped their arms around me for real. They all wrapped their arms around me. They all, spoke life into me. They all, I was getting back into going to church. And then what really, really, really drove everything home was once I transitioned from my mother's church. The Bible says, you train up a child in the way that they should. You lead up a child in the way that they should go when they're older, they won't depart from it. So my mom trained me up the way that I should go. But then by the time I'm grown with my wife, okay, maybe we want to get our own little church. Maybe we can step away from the church or whatever. So we actually ended up going to New Church of Faith, who was always kind of her family church. Her people knew about, New Church of Faith. Her aunts and all of them, they were involved. So one day she was like, "Hey, let's go try them out." And then we went. I think the first time we went, they were actually renovating the church, so they were speaking in the auditorium of Evans. And I heard Pastor Russ Beecham speak for the first time. And from the first time I heard his first sermon that I heard, I was blown away, and I knew he was speaking directly to me. And I was also at the time dealing with a lot. Like my grandmother, who I love from death, my dad's mother, she was, battling with breast cancer, and she actually had just passed away in 2016. And actually, in fact, to rewind, in 2014, after college, is kind of when she found out she had breast cancer. So it was a lot I was going through post college. Grandma found out my grandma got breast cancer, you know, just dealing with what was going on with the coach and the situation at the end of my college years, and then pro not working out. A lot I was going through, and then by 2016, she died in January of 2016, and that same year, a couple months later, that's when I went to New Church of Faith for the first time. And yeah, so between, like I always say, my wife, my mother, my mother-in-law, my sisters-in-law, my pastors and my mentors, the Mr. Eddie Cole, Miss Michelle Cole, that group of folks kind of really helped me get my way back on the right path and get my mind right and bring me back to light rather than out of that darkness.
I love to hear it. I personally had a relationship with Eddie Cole too, so I definitely understand his impact. Rest in peace to him and all love to their family. Through all of that, like you said, church, New Church of Faith, they helped you, family helped you. Um, I would also imagine with no longer playing, you want to some of the competitiveness, some of the things that you took in playing, you are also able to take with you and were also helpful for you with coaching. When you
Oh yes,
started
sir.
coaching, when you started coaching, for you, what was it that kept you in it? Because some people get into coaching and they don't stay.
I would say what kept me in it was the fact that I coached like I played, like high intensity, on edge, turned up on the sideline, talking a little trash. Before the game, I got my headphones on like I'm playing, like I be zoned in for real. Like I approach the game the same way like I was when I was playing. So that's first and foremost. But what really also helped me stay in the fact was the fact that I was at Edgewater. Like being there and for my first years of coaching, that really, that really hit home for me because I was always an Edgewater guy. That's why another reason transferring was never in my mind. All my family went there. Like I seen all these Edgewater greats come from being Eanville Vikings. Like then they went to be Edgewater Eagles. Wasn't no damn transferring on our mind. That's why I don't like the fact of people transferring out of Edgewater. Oh, I think I'm gonna transfer to Edgewater. Man, I ain't never been that. If you here, it's here. You here because you want to be here. You ain't here because you got to transfer from somewhere else. We here because this our zone. This is where we from. I'm from Edenville. We going to Edgewater. You ain't from Edenville going nowhere else. Like I'm going to Edgewater. through the good years, bad years, all that, and it was always good years for real, for real. It wasn't until like later on was some of the years that were at Edgewater weren't the best, but Edgewater always a powerhouse. I'm talking about from '03, '04, '05, all them dogs, three states championship runs, all that. Yeah, all them, everybody on that team was my family. I've been involved in every Edgewater State championship game. When I was there in the stands as a family member to being there as coach. Like so, Edgewater definitely was one of the reasons I stayed loyal to the game, and that made me not get out of it because I love the kids and I knew what football did for me. But I want to make sure kids knew that they weren't football players first. Like football definitely brought people around my life, brought coaches in my life, teammates that I'm forever grateful for, that I've played with, coached with, brothers with to this day, so I know what the game of football can do for you. So I love the game of football just for what it can do for a young man. So that's another reason why I stay in it.
So with that, you were able to coach at Edgewater, and then you took an opportunity to go coach at Marietta. For you, that to me shows a level of growth and continuation. What goals do you have with coaching?
To be honest, man, I just want to impact as many lives as I can. Jeff Duke, which is Cam Duke's dad, he said there's a study that says one coach will impact more lives. I can't remember the exact quote, but basically you will touch more lives, you will impact more lives in a year than most people do in their entire life. Like you can impact so much in a kid's life just by being a coach. You know what I'm saying? I love helping a kid get better. I love helping him through adversity. I love holding him accountable because I know all that stuff that I didn't want really, but know I needed is beneficial.
Love it. Um, Last couple questions for you. Again, you were able to play at the D1 level. What advice would you give a kid that's trying to make it to college?
To be real, this day and age is a little different than it was back when I was in school. Like back when I was in school, we weren't doing probably what all these kids are doing. We weren't training for real, for real. We was running around the streets. We were playing pickup basketball. We was throwing the football. You know what I'm saying? We was running around, riding bikes, stealing bikes, whatever. So, um, this day and age, work. Like don't make these fake videos and fake highlights where you act like you're doing something for it and you cut it off short because you know you ain't really do nothing. Uh, don't be out here making these fake posts and you got this offer and that offer that ain't really solid. Just work, put the work in. Don't even worry about recruiting. Like it's gonna happen if you really putting that work in. It's hard for you not to stand out if you really putting that work in. Like put that work in, and then it's a lot of trainers these days, and it's a lot of trainers these days because it ain't a lot of good coaches. I'm just say that straight up. It's not a lot of good coaches. I thank God that any player that played for me will vouch that I'm a good coach, good man to them, but I also help them be a better man and a better player. Like I actually help them. I know what I'm talking about, and I give them the game. So any player will vouch that. Not a lot of coaches can do that. Some of these coaches is there either off their name or they're there off somebody that they know. And some of these coaches ain't really relational. Some of these coaches don't really know what they're talking about. Just because this worked out for you don't mean it's going to work out for this kid and that kid. Like, not everybody got that. Not everybody can coach anybody. Some people can only coach good players. That's why a lot of coaches like to get transfers and stuff. Some people can't build up a player,
Yeah.
So that's part of the problem. So I would say get you a good trainer or make sure you got a good coach. You know what I'm saying? And then all else fails, work. Bust your ass. Put in the extra work. Don't do nothing else extracurricular. Work. Be with your family. Trust God first. Stay in the word. Stay in a good church. And then put the work in for real, for real. Put the work in. Stay on top of your grades. Like God, family, education. Those are the first three things. Everything else, back burner. For real, for real.
Okay.
Put your head down
So
and work.
I got one more question, but before I ask the last question, you said you had a business. I want you to plug your business and tell me where everybody can find it.
Oh yeah, man. We on IG. You can hit me up on IG 95 underscore EJD. That's my personal page on EJD95 underscore. That's the business page. We offer security services, transportation services, also training. That's explosion, speed, position specific work, all that. We're services we offer. So yeah, you please hit me up. You know anybody that needs security. We do personal security really for athletes, and I got Amari Jones. Shout out to Banger. Banger is one of my clients. Professional boxer, bronze medalist back in the Olympics. We work with Noah Lyles. Another gold medalist. Shout out to Paramount Global. My boy Justin Jenkins. Plugged in with him as well. We kind of work with each other with each other's business. So yeah, personal security and transportation, as well as skills and explosion training, footwork, position specific.
Gotcha. All right, last question. What advice would you give someone that has to adjust back to life after their playing career is over?
Make sure you surround yourself with good people. Make sure you surround yourself with people that really care about you and people that wasn't trying to lean on you for what you could provide for them. Provide, be around people that really care about you, people that's gonna build you up and help you get back established. And not be like, oh my God, you ain't make it. Now you here, now you there. You know what I'm saying? Don't be around people that's gonna down talk you. Put yourself around, people that's gonna push the word on you first and foremost. They're gonna make sure that your spirit man is right. Gotta make sure your spirit man is right and aligned with the Lord. You know what I'm saying? So that's first and foremost. Make sure all else fails, you remember that you're a man of God first, created in God's image. And then from
Appreciate
there, just like I say, put yourself around good people, and don't beat yourself up. I would say that you with yourself more than you can be with anybody else. It's somebody that's always yelling at you. No matter what you do, somebody's gonna be yelling at you. Somebody's gonna be mad at you. You don't have to yell at yourself. You don't have to be mad at yourself. You know what I'm saying? Be your number one fan. Pick yourself up and be around people that's gonna do the same. Hold you accountable, but also lift you up.
it. Hey man, I love it. I appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir.
Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. We out.
Yes, sir.
Peace.